So I don't know if the power's back. I really hope it is. I doubt it though, but like really, if it's not, what am I gonna do with you, South Africa? Hey, I'm going to go and fulfill, what is this situation in Trevor Noah joke? I'm going to Australia, I'm leaving. Except I think I just want to go to heaven. I don't want to go to Australia. There are floods there. Mamelang, I am God's daughter, and I've been God's, I guess, predestinated saint from before the foundations of the earth. For those reasons, my life has been obviously footprinted and handprinted all over it by the signature of God. And that has not changed. Now, especially because I am Christian. Ever since giving my life to Christ, I now also walk in a very, 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 very detailed biblical Christianity that involves persecution and loss and affliction. But because the fool who thinks in their heart there is no God anticipates that my life is as a result of their witchcraft, they are looking at me as one who has no God. Except I have a God who forewarned me in advance to count the cost of being a disciple. For many are the afflictions of those who choose me, but I deliver them from them all. He forewarned me that if anybody is in me, they will suffer persecution. He forewarned me that these things would come to my doorstep, such that when they do come, I would not be puzzled, surprised, and taken aback, but recognize that I am partaking in the sufferings of Jesus Christ. However, the wicked about me that are spinning around on the spot anticipate that their sorcery has worked. And that is what makes me very upset, because it is the very reason why they treat me with so much disdain. They treat me horrifically and do not care to even ask how I am doing, do not care to imagine it inappropriate for a woman to be living in so much obscurity at the age of 38, going nowhere. Go acceptilwe amidst abantu bakithi that ukarabo akazoba naba. Are you serious? Literally one of my strongest desires. Go acceptilwe ukuthi ukarabo is going to be a spinster ongenabantwana, basically like a barren woman, despite me having a thriving like uterus. Despite being fertile, they have accepted that angizoba bantwana. Abantu bakithi baemetse fela go thosa legacy at the cemetery. They are waiting for my demise because I have become an embarrassment to them. Umfazi omuhle ohlakaniphile who should therefore transfer ama genes wakhe to indodakazinyana nendodananyana to go and proliferate a legacy. They have accepted ukuthi ha ho tswa ditlogolo mo mpenya this girl, ha ho tswa di niece le di nephew mo mpenya this chickie. This one is not gonna be giving us any kind of offspring. There will be no progeny springing forth from this here individual. So I was just merely a blob that was born by mistake. Letsopa le agilweng ka phoso. I was just vomited on the earth. And so all I will make for one day is fertilizer for the ground. That's what's good, eh? Next. Like Solomon Grundy, hey? Born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, took it on Thursday, worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. This is the life of Solomon Grundy. Except Solomon Grundy at least got married. I've got so much talent, and on top of that I've got so much positive desire. I don't eat ukhulisa abantwana futhi that aren't even mine, buying adoption, and I have been declared dead. Literally, they've called my time of death because they're witch doctors. They have called it. They've called and said time of death 2014 November 30th, because that's when I lost my job at MTN. That's where everything fell apart. That's when they called it. And so all these years I've been walking around like I'm a zombie. Like I'm just kicking, you know? Like umuntu after they have died from a very shocking death that severs their body parts. How like a toe is still twitching, a finger is still twitching. To them, I'm like the twitching finger. Everything else is shoni. Like there's no bringing this thing back. The head has been decapitated. So don't be looking at the finger twitching and the toe twitching and be thinking you can rescue this person. It's over. Those are just nerve endings. It like be maintaining their active links. The firing of the nerve endings is still happening, and that's the only reason why the leg is still twitching. But this person is unrescuable because I mean, look at the head, it's over there, and the body is over there. I've been so severed from a normal life, and I've been so cut from the thriving artery of this country, the jugular of this nation, its economy. I have been laid waste as a human being entirely, to a point where I am considered a twitching finger on a body that cannot be rescued, for it has been decapitated. My family members have embraced me as such a thing as that. My former friends, guys. That is my life. Yeah, guys, I wanna go pee into since I get like a hammer, I have been called. Look, I've been called. My number has been called in their heaven, in their hell, in their afterworld, in their, like, literally whatever might be the after death experience they imagine happens when a person dies. I've been called in that space. Except, have I been called by the one true God in heaven above? Has the Lord said, Karabo, it is your time, my servant? No. The God who calls, since he has the keys to death and Hades, everybody on earth when it's their time to go, has he called me? He hasn't. He hasn't called my number. They're saying my number was called. Her number was called. It was time. Yeah, no, my number hasn't been called. The Lord has not sent instruction to order the events that will bring about my death in heaven, and yet earthlings, mere mortals, meager creations have called me. They've coded me. They've declared a time of death. Which other fellow keep breathing my last, such that they are watching me just merely exist. Guys, the travesty of that. When it has been one of my strongest desires since I was but 23 or 22 years old. The only reason I didn't give that ex-boyfriend of mine a child was because I wasn't married to him. But I've wanted a kid since I was about 22. And here it is that people have said, no, not because I got into some accident that ruptured my uterus. Not because I got some STD that messed up with my fertility. Not because I can't have children due to some genetic disorder or having a hysterectomy because of a disease. Like, no, I can't have kids because people have seen it fit to make sure that I can't marry and I can't honor God within any space sufficiently enough to have kids in a responsible fashion. Bayazi, my religious convictions, I can't just go out there and Yolanda some random dude like to be a sperm donor. So they know that the only time that I would be happy to go and have a baby is if I'm married. And since I'm just anybody that comes here, it has to be a blood-bought, born-again child of the living God that is within a particular character suite. I believe these certain traits and certain things, because everybody got a type. I'm human. I'm touching just anybody on some I also have a preference. So because they know what I'm waiting on God for, the very thing that I said, cousin, they are telling themselves, it's unfortunate she can't give her mother grandchildren. Have her sex before marriage, and on top of that she's got high expectations, and so for those reasons I have been declared officially infertile, despite like perfectly functioning ovaries. Maybe not that perfectly functioning since I've got a geriatric womb now, but I am not medically infertile. I am just spiritually infertile because of the asinine activity of buffoons on the ground. Next part.